It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 Dick, 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 go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
We'll now hear from Mark Dakotas with Florida Today.
Sir, thank you for your time today. Can you talk a little bit about your season as a whole and how you've dealt with the peaks and the valleys? I mean, the good finish at Daytona and then the disappointments beyond that to 21st in points. How have you kept that even keel and kept from going home and kicking the dog every night? Thank you.
You know, it's a tough battle. There's the good years and then there's the bad years. And a year like this is definitely a character builder. It teaches you to fight from within and to keep reaching and to keep pushing harder each and every week, to have a shot at trying to get back into the top 15 in points or top 12 or even just try to crack the top 10 barrier each and every week. You're working hard and you got to keep things on a level field to know that, hey, you can still do this, everything's going to be fine. We just got to work through this to get this new car to work better for Penske Racing.
And can you talk a little bit about how the Kurt Busch of 2008 is dealing with this and maybe how the Kurt Busch of 2002 and 2003 might have handled it differently?
Well, I feel like I've got more years of experience under my belt and just being able to expect the unexpected and to be able to deal with it easier. Because when you first start out, you're out there, you don't know what the history or what the past has brought you, and so you're just winging it. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily bode well for the ultimate success. And so the experience level has helped me, and just being able to deal with the good and the bad over the years is definitely carrying us through this.
Thank you.
And we'll hear now from Travis Braun with USA Today.
Yes, Kurt, I wondered if you could talk a little bit about your brother. I'm sorry if you already mentioned this, but I just got on. Talk about Kyle and what's your thoughts on his schedule and kind of where he's headed, and maybe a little bit about his fan, maybe his popularity and kind of his thoughts on that and what you think of that.
Well, I think that like any driver that gets hot in any racing series, there's always that attention that's around him, and the way that he's winning races and beating the fans as heroes, that ultimately leads to good stories. And so I've been through it and seen it. When you win races, you're hot, and people necessarily don't like it because you're beating their favorites. And so he's got a grueling schedule with driving all the different divisions that he's in, and I'm happy to see him do well in all of them.
Do you think the fans will eventually turn around and be supporters of Kyle?
You know, it just depends on what the overall view is. I don't know what the Busch brothers do sometimes to have the fans go against them, but we're just hard-charging racers that we have been taught to do by our father and by the competition. And so sometimes it's not well perceived, but we're just out there racing hard, usually putting on great racing action, and sometimes it just gets misled.
Thank you.
We'll now hear from Robert Drogi with BRD Broadcasting.
Thank you. You know, we're still receiving various comments from drivers concerning this new car. You know, comments like it doesn't handle well at some tracks. You and the boys will be racing at Michigan International Speedway, which is almost like racing at California Speedway because of the similarity of the tracks. Will driving at Michigan be a big help to you because, you know, you raced at California earlier this year with the tracks being so similar?
Yeah, I think that it helps to go to tracks that are similar. And that way you've got the notebook from earlier on in the year. But then on the flip side of that, what we've learned over the last few weeks is the most important information because it's the newest information. And so Michigan, it's a bit different than California. It's now summertime. It's going to be hot and slick. So we'll see how we deal with it.
Thank you.
And next we will hear from John Roger from KRMS Radio NASCAR Friday.
So much, Kurt, for being with us. I know it's difficult to get out of your schedule and be able to stop down and talk to people such as myself, but I really do appreciate it. And I got a couple questions for you. I wanted to know, as the older brother to Kyle, has he come to you for any advice on how to handle the pressure of being in this major spotlight right now, or has he been handling himself?
He's been full throttle all by himself. He's been racing all the different racing series and doing well at them, and so I'm happy for him. But he's just doing it all on his own. Really, it seems like he's got it all under control, and he's on the gas.
In what ways are you similar to your brother, and in what ways do you guys differ?
I would say that we both want to race hard to win and to put on a great show for their fans, and that's where we're very similar. We're not very different in many areas, other than I'm probably still just the guy around the corner, or the regular Joe, so to speak, and just trying to be the regular guy that I always was, and so that might be where we're a bit different, because his sunglasses are pretty wild right now, and he's definitely putting on this new image.
Okay, that's a good answer there. How is your number 2 Miller Lite Dodge team? Have you progressed this season so far from the start up at Daytona until now, and what do you expect coming up this weekend here in Michigan?
Well, it's been a good year in some aspects, and then it's been a tough year in others. We still seem to have the same problem week in and week out with our front end of our Dodges not turning very well. So whether we get our finger on it sooner or later, I hope it's sooner. And that way we can get back into victory lane for all of our great sponsors and just trying to get back up in the top 12 in points.
And finally, Kirk, here's kind of an off-the-wall question, but what do you do for vacation when you're not racing, when you're not on the racetrack or practicing or working with the team?
Vacation's always spent on a sandy beach somewhere. Warm water is always helpful to just get away and break away and do nothing. Of course, you got to sip on a couple Miller Lights while you're out there on vacation.
All right, thank you so much, Kurt Busch. Really appreciate it.
We will now hear from Kerry Murphy with Final Lap.
Hey, Kurt, thanks so much for being on with us today. For the fans that are fans of a particular make or model, what is it that makes a Dodge, a Chevy a Chevy? What are the differences now that the COT has kind of leveled the playing field?
Well, everybody still has their passion for their emblem, on who they want to see do well, and just what their blood is inside them. If you're a Dodge guy from the get-go, you're going to be that for life. And fans still have that feeling towards the Dodges. And the race cars, are all relatively the same, but yet there's the personality within the engine, of course, and then with the race team as far as building the chassis and what's underneath that skin. So if you're a Dodge guy, you're a Dodge guy for life.
Thanks. Good luck this weekend.